Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for joining us on our call today. I'm Amy Truesdell, and I'm going to be the moderator. I just wanted to start off with some housekeeping to make sure that our call is running smoothly. So if everyone can hear me or see my screen, either one, let's go ahead and get you to type in that side panel for me that you can hear me okay, my volume's not too low, and that you should be able to see on your screen our welcome to our special invitation-only hotline webinar training session. Okay. Need to turn up my volume a little bit? Okay, I can certainly do that. That's great. Looks like everyone is able to see and hear me, so that means that our call will go smoothly with our guests coming on board here. Now, what we're going to be doing, just to give everyone an idea of what our plans are, we're going to be having a live Q&A at the end of the screen, or at the end of the call. Okay. Sorry, I'm going to move my screen forward for everyone here. There we go. Okay, so we're going to be able to do the live Q&A, and we're going to submit our questions into the side panel as we go along, so that way we can prepare to ask those to the guest. Rick Brash, I'm sure you're all familiar with his name by now. And what we're going to do, if we're not able to get to your question live, we will follow up with an individual response for you. Okay, so if that's something that pops up in the mind, make sure you go ahead and type that in the side panel. Okay, and then what I'm going to do now is introduce our host for the call. And Mike Kowalski, are you with me today?
Sure am, Amy. How are you doing today?
I'm fine, thank you. How about you?
I'm doing wonderful. Hope everyone is having a wonderful day as well. I see a lot of people coming on to the call. We have a really good registration and show rate as well, as I see the people coming on. Amy, I haven't been counting all the years, but we've been doing these conferences with Craig Proctor for now, 16 years now. We've been to over 50 of these conferences. Just amazing. Time flies.
Yeah. Yep, exactly. You know, there's always a great turnout at these events, and lots of questions stemming from them. So hopefully today we're going to be able to cover a lot of those and get the answers that our clients are seeking.
Sure, great. And a lot of this call is all about your questions. And what we did is, we took the top 5, and like Amy mentioned at the beginning of the call, we're going to open up the line for a live Q&A with Rick and I. And a few other things that we're going to do. We're also going to show you on this call how to get the best quality leads using the hotline tool, which we call the grade A lead. So Rick is going to go into more in depth of that, and I'm really excited to find out how to do that. And we're also going to be introducing a brand new mobile feature to enhance your lead generation using the hotline technology. So you guys are going to love this stuff. We got great content, and we've also got a bonus that we are going to be offering to everyone that stays at the end of the call. So great call, and we love interaction. So if you guys have any questions or any comments, on the right side of the chat box, feel free to fill that in. So why don't we get, is Rick on the line, Amy?
I think so, yeah. Rick, are you with us? Rick, are you there?
Hi, guys. How you doing?
Ah, there we go.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
We can hear you fine. I can hear you fine, Rick.
How are you
doing? I'm doing great.
Well, yeah, I'm doing good, Mike. It's cold where I am, but I'm doing good.
Yeah, it's cold. We are, too.
So winter's hit the northern half of the continent. So for our southern friends who sit there not knowing what snow and winter and cold is all about, we're in it. So that's why we're focused on work now for the rest of the year.
Great. Well, Rick, this call is all about the post-conference hotline training session, and we usually follow up with after every event, and the last event that we attended in Orlando was another great conference.
Well, I thought it was fantastic, to tell you the truth. I really, really enjoyed the event. So yeah, it's important that we follow up with our members, Mike, who start the journey with the Quantum Leap system and begin this idea of implementing technology correctly. Let's face it, there's no shortage of technology out there in the marketplace. Absolutely no shortage whatsoever. So what we want to do is make sure that everybody understands where the technology fits in, because the last thing we want people doing is wasting time, doing things that aren't dollar productive. So that's why you have this call. That's why you spend the time with our members so they can get this thing up and running and optimized as quickly and as effectively as possible. So good on you, Mike, for putting this call together.
Well, great. Well, glad to have you, Rick. And like you said, this is for all the agents out there to can take a hold of the marketing and our technology and start making money with this tool. And why don't we? Well, Rick, before we get going, we've got more people piling in here. Why don't you? We had a challenge a few years ago. Well, actually, more than 2 years. Maybe 5 or 6 years. Why don't you discuss quickly a little bit about the challenge and how you won that challenge, and what you won and what you did to win it?
Well, it's all about production. So you and your team at AMS a few years ago ran a contest that looked at 2 quarters, the quarter of the first year and the quarter of the second year. And everybody who entered the contest was asked to submit their leads generated using the hotline technology for the first quarter, and then the same quarter the following year submit those leads. And the person who had the biggest increase in leads was the winner of the contest. And I guess, as everybody knows, it was me. And I was actually quite surprised that I won, because I've just always used this tool in my business to create leads. And first prize was that beautiful Hummer H2 that's on the back of your magazine, Mike. And it was really thrilling to win that, frankly. But it wasn't just me. It was a complete effort on behalf of my whole team. But the bottom line was this. We create opportunity as realtors. That's our job. Sometimes as realtors looking for leads, we have to take the realtor hat off and put the marketer hat on. And using Craig and his Quantum Leap system and his entire coaching team, I became really good at creating leads because I understand my local market. And I simply put the resource in place where these prospects could just easily and predictably call in, get more information on the subject at hand. Maybe it's a report. Maybe it's a list of properties they saw in an ad in the newspaper. Maybe it's a feature sheet on one of my listings. Maybe it's following up on the area sales report to a postcard. Whatever it is I do, the hotline simply enables the prospect to have their request, encapsulated and nurtured. And here's the interesting thing that everybody needs to pick up on. If you use this tool, you create more requests. And the reason is simple. As realtors, despite what we think, we are not the most loved breed in town. People aren't out there just looking for us to do business with. No, they'd rather get their questions answered on their own or call a less threatening resource to get their questions answered than talk to me. And we learned that early in this journey with you and Craig, Mike. And so everywhere I run marketing, or everywhere I ran marketing at the time of the contest, I made an answer to the question available by simply calling my 1-800 number, listening to a pre-recorded message, and telling them how to get what they wanted. Really simple. And the hotline tool is not a new piece of technology for real estate agents. You've just taken it, Mike, and with Craig's help, you've created a much better, more sound technology piece that we can use, and it works over and over and over again. The thing about the hotline that I want everybody to really catch on to today is you have to put it out there where your prospects can see it. Okay, I can't Google a hotline number. I can't go online and search for the hotline number. Nope. If I'm a prospect and I bump into your marketing, I also want to bump into your hotline number. It should be everywhere. On your for sale signs, on your feature sheets in your listings, in all of your marketing, on your business card, wherever you have marketing of any kind, make access to your hotline available there. And that's what I've always done. This is my favorite tool. It can generate lead after lead after lead after lead if people bump into it and the call to action is strong. So that's how I use it, Mike. That's how I've continued to use it. That's what I did back in 2005 when you guys ran the contest. Mm-hmm. And I guess that's how I won by simply doing what you and Craig told me to do.
And just to add some numbers at that point, in that 3-month period, Rick, you generated over 3,700 leads in that 3 months, hence why you won. And I believe your income, you made over $240,000 out of those leads, which is, I think you call it the AMS Freedom System.
Well, it was freedom. Okay, and the reason I said that back then, Mike, was if you think about it, if I had to sit at my desk and take 3,700 calls, just think about that for a minute,
right.
I would be completely imprisoned to my desk in my chair. Right. But putting the hotline in place means I send everybody to the hotline, I let the tool do what it was designed to do, take the call, sort and sift through the prospects that call it, and stand the good ones, or what we call the grade A leads, in first priority position. In fact, I even took a few of those calls because I encouraged the prospect to hit 0 and be in contact with me immediately. But it lets me get away from my desk, Mike, and do what I do best, and that's go work with people.
Well, Rick, it would be impossible for you personally to take every call yourself, no matter what. And the whole goal of that is to really, sift or pre-qualify these leads and really deal with first the highly qualified and motivated ones, and then really to sort out the unqualified kind of tire kickers or time wasters that you call them. So that's why it's really important to have this tool capturing leads and sifting and sorting, because when you apply this system, you're going to generate a lot of leads like you have. Now, we kind of answered a lot of the first question, which is on the screen there. Why should one have a hotline? And just before we get into the next part of it, why don't we get into the benefits of having a hotline, not only to the agent, but the prospect themselves.
Well, let's face it, we want to put a tool in place that makes the whole process easier for everybody. So, from the perspective of a prospect, let's use a real practical example. Think of your listing out there on a street, and in that neighborhood where that street is, there's 5 or 6 other houses for sale. And the 5 or 6 other properties simply have one thing going for them: a stale, boring, clinical for sale sign. And on that for sale sign is the phone number or the cell phone number of the agent representing the seller. Now, guys, don't send me emails later this afternoon saying I'm dissing for sale signs, because I'm not. In fact, if you saw my for sale sign program, you'd know I'm a big believer in creating an event with for sale signs. But if the typical sign only has the cell phone number of the agent on board, and as we already know, as real estate agents, we're not that popular, and if we know what we know, that people are not looking for a real estate agent at first, they're simply looking for information. If the agent is set up as the gatekeeper, it's safe to say we'll diminish the return on that for sale sign. But if in conjunction with that for sale sign, we make a number of things available to the prospect driving around the community, i.e., I have a separate sign that sits beside my for sale sign that simply encourages a home shopper to call in and listen to what? A pre-recorded message. It's not talk to an agent. It's not beg and go through some kind of ritual where he tries to, sign me up. No, it's simply a pre-recorded message. Statistics show we'll generate 3 to 5 times more calls that way, and we'll create a happier experience for the prospect. The prospect gets the information they're looking for. They get information on how to set up a showing. They can get information on how to get a mortgage approved before they look at the house. They can even be given the opportunity to order a fully loaded, full-color, property brochure on this home, and all this takes place before they have to deal with a real estate agent. Now, if you're into this, you quickly see why this starts to work as well as it does. We're eliminating ourselves from a certain step in the procedure where actually we don't need to be. And that's how we create more leads. And for the agent, of course, more leads are created. It's a friendlier lead. And Mike, when we follow up on that lead that's left a message on our hotline, that's not a cold call. It's in fact a very warm call. And we begin that follow-up by saying, hey, it's Rick. I got your request for the feature sheet on my listing over on Riverview Avenue. I'm just calling to let you know we've either faxed it, emailed, or mailed it, whatever they asked for. And by the way, is moving into that neighborhood something you're thinking about doing? And for those of you who are in our coaching program, you know that that's how we start our universal callback script. And guess what happens after that? In 3 or 4 minutes, we've made arrangements to meet with that prospect if their timing and motivation make sense. So huge benefit for the prospect, it's easier. Huge benefit for the realtor in that it gives you freedom and creates a much better quality lead to start with.
And Rick, if I could just add to the benefit for the prospect, you mentioned about generating 3 times as many calls. That's because we make it easy and non-threatening for the prospect to get the information. Okay, so that they're not really calling an agent, nor do they want to at this point. It's all a whole process of buying or selling the home. But and also, if I can just add for benefit to the agent, is the most important thing to what I think it is giving structure to your life, and time is the most important thing, and the hotline does that for you. So,
without question, without question, none of us want to be imprisoned to a cell phone or imprisoned to a desk. I mean, I certainly don't. And if we're not careful, if we turn lead generation on and we send everything to our cell phone, we're going to have to glue that thing to our ear mic because we'll always be on the cell phone. Generating leads isn't that difficult when you understand the local market. And I'm not on a limb saying that. It's a proven fact. Generating leads is not that hard. It's what you do with those leads effectively that takes a little bit of management. Listen, there's another benefit that we haven't talked about yet, Mike, and that's this whole idea that we as performance-driven real estate agents know the value of having an immediate conversation with a prospect. Now, we all have learned how to become great lead generators, and we're all really good at running applicable marketing, using relevant messages and getting people to respond and getting these prospects into our system for correct follow-up. But what about that one prospect who's ready to go today? What about that one prospect who's got his mortgage approval on Thursday afternoon and is a little bit impatient and goes out and wants to buy this weekend? What if that person calls into your hotline that he sees on a for sale sign and chooses to circumvent everything else we've given him there and chooses to do one special thing, and that is press 0 to be connected to you, the agent? How many of you see immediate benefit in engaging that prospect in that very right now, very current, meaningful conversation? How many of you would like to circumvent the database, circumvent the lead coming in via email, circumvent programming the callback? Yes, we do all those things, but how many of you would like to talk to that person now? He's sitting in front of your listing. He calls your hotline. He doesn't want to hear the voice on the hotline. He wants answers. He presses 0, and boom, your cell phone rings. That's another capability built into this tool that we should never, ever overlook. In fact, our scripting should give everybody a clear and distinct trail right to my phone. And that's a great conversation to get into, and that's the conversation that results in an appointment 5 minutes after your phone rings. And that's what this tool is capable of doing. So everybody needs to set it up and manage it and format their scripts so that happens more than it's happening now.
Rick, later in the call, we're going to actually play a sample script that you just alluded to in seeking these grade A leads with the meaningful, perfectly timed live conversation with prospective buyers and sellers. But we're going to be playing a script later in this call so they can listen exactly what you say to compel that prospect to dial 0 and talk to you live now. No lead capture, no follow-up, no trying to find emails, bogus information, or people you can't get a hold of. You want to talk to that prospect right now. So,
look, all we're trying to do is maybe just reverse the order a little bit. Yes, right. We want the lead. Yes, we want the message left. Yes, I want the request for the feature sheet. And yes, I'll be following up to have a conversation with that prospect. But what if I can do that right now? Right before everything else? Mike, I think that's the reason we do this. We are in business. We put out for sale signs. We run marketing with our hotline in it so we can get into a conversation with someone who's buying or selling. And this enables that to happen right now if we structure it correctly. And that's what I want everybody to think about moving forward. How can I structure a script so that I can create that pound on the zero over and over and over again, which gets me into a very good conversation with a prospect? That's what I want to do.
Perfect. Now let's get into our second most common question, Rick, and that is, what is the difference between the two hotlines? We have two hotlines, as you know. We have the information unbranded or less branded line and the USP property tree line. A lot of people who are just starting out don't quite understand the difference and how to use it, so that was a big question. So why don't we start off with, you want to start off with the information line? And
yeah, let's talk about the two formats. There's two distinct formats. Both formats serve a specific purpose in our marketing strategy. Let's start with the information line. So you run the ad. Let's say we run a basic, less branded type of ad, and we offer a list of foreclosures or a report on what to do if you're going through a divorce before, during, and after. All right? That's the marketing piece that's running. It's a classified ad. Maybe it's a display ad in a local newspaper. Maybe it's an editorial. The last paragraph of an editorial ad simply encourages the reader to call in and order the report. Well, the hotline technology, the hotline format, we use for that is the information line, and that's the less branded hotline that AMS has offered. How does it work? Well, they call and they simply hear an introduction. The introduction simply says something like, "Thank you for calling Calgary's real estate information hotline. Please make your 4-digit selection now." So the caller then keys in the 4-digit code and the script is played, the call to action is offered, and we tell the prospect what information we need to simply send what we promised. Now, with the information line, that's the end of it. That's where it stops. You can't go and do another one. You can't go through a bunch of different scripts. Nope, that's the way it's designed to work. It's short and it's sweet and it's concise and it's to the point. Now, the USP property tree, however, is a little different in its format in that, number one, it's a branded. So the first thing that the caller hears after they've responded to our marketing is the introduction. And the introduction usually includes the agent who runs this hotline identifying himself by name and giving some further instructions that at this point they can either key in the 4-digit ID code or they can listen to a couple of other small USP type commercials that the agent has put together. In fact, this hotline is designed to offer 9 single-digit key-ins where a USP commercial can be played about the agent and his service. Now, I've never used all 9 in an introduction. I've only ever used 2, sometimes 3. Remember, guys, our script has to be short, sweet, and to the point. But you can get a USP mention or 2 in there and not have the caller hang up on you if you're short and sweet about it. Once they listen to that message in conjunction with the single-digit code they've keyed in, they're then encouraged to key in the 4-digit ID code of the property they've called on and listen to that message about the property. So there's the difference, okay? When they call in, they can listen to either a single-digit USP message or they can key in the 4-digit message which goes in conjunction with the property. And I know, Mike, you and Craig created this format so Craig could really highlight his properties in a manner that nobody else was doing before, and also talk a little bit about the special services that he offered. Now, once the property script is played and the prospect has been compelled to leave a message and ask for more, he can actually kick in another 4-digit ID code. And he can actually go through a number of those. Now, here's why this works. Let's say you're offering this hotline format in a page of listings in your local real estate magazine or your local real estate newspaper. You might have 15 or 20 listings in your ad, and this enables the prospect to go through and listen to as many as they want or as few as they want. But at the end of the day, we call it a property tree for this reason. They can move around and listen to a couple of scripts. Or, as we mentioned before, we always encourage the person calling to key in 0 and get on the phone with you at any time they want. So that's the difference between the two. The information line is perfect for our less branded raw lead generation. The property tree is branded, and it's really perfect for highlighting our listings and the USPs that we offer in our business.
Great. And both lines, Rick, if I can just add, it comes with a notification of the lead, whether they leave a message or not. That can be optionally emailed to you or text to you immediately as the prospect comes into the line. And we have a feature what we call reverse directory lookup, which it also provides, and we'll show you this in the reports, the name and address of that prospect. So not only do you get the lead, you get the message, but we'll give you the name and telephone number of that prospect and deliver it right to your smartphone or your email address, and your report. So pretty cool stuff, and the dial zero feature as well.
Well, like I said earlier, the technology is sound. I mean, don't worry about programming things. Don't worry about it being down. I mean, I've been with you, Mike, for 12 years, and have never had any technology problems with it at all. So, I mean, I'll go out on a limb and tell everybody that they won't either. I mean, it's highly unlikely the system will be down, and it will generate leads for you. Now, I just want to remind everybody that when you're a Craig Proctor Coaching Group member, it also comes with a full library of scripts that you can take advantage of. And I just put a few of them on the screen here so everybody can see how a script works in conjunction on the hotline with the campaign that's being run. And so all of these scripts here that you're looking at have a pre-recorded message that goes with them. You simply have to log in to the back end of the hotline and turn it on to work with a specific mailbox that you choose. They're there already, pre-recorded, ready to go. You don't have to change anything. And again, we encourage everybody to do this. This is a great way to up your lead generation. And again, when you sit down with a seller and in a listing presentation, you show a seller how you'll present his house to the general public, most sellers are pretty amazed when you show them how this works. So everybody just needs to learn, get in the back end, figure it all out, and get busy with this technology.
It's a good segue into the next question, Rick, about what are the key elements everyone should pay attention to when it comes to creating marketing scripts. You showed on the screen that all the scripts for the information line and the property tree are all done, preloaded for you. You just select the script that you want to target and add it to your ad. Now, Rick, you have always been a master of scripting and conversion, you know, not making it too salesy, you know, watching the tonality of the voice, and always testing to really get it really converting well. You know, a lot of questions we have about scripting is, hey, the female voice, does that convert better than a male voice? And why don't you discuss a little bit what your experience on creating marketing scripts and using female and male voices, and you know what we'll do after you finish, we'll actually play the script that you use to compel the prospects to dial zero and have that meaningful conversation. Is that okay?
Okay. Yeah. So there's a for me there was always a thought process behind this. I expend some time and some energy and a little bit of work to create the lead. So let me just give you sort of my format on how we generate leads with the hotline. My first focus is always the time and effort spent to determine if a marketing campaign is relevant for the marketplace. And so once I've done my market study for a new campaign, I'll create the campaign in 2 or 3 different versions. So on the screen, here's just a couple of examples of the type of ads I would start working with to make a campaign mine. And it's really simple. It's not about me. It's simply about what the prospect is looking for. And you'll notice in these 2 ads, I specifically tell the prospect that if he wants the list, all he has to do is call into my hotline, kick in the 4-digit code, and create the request for the list. And that's the format that I've learned over the years working with Craig. I simply put my hotline into any marketing piece that I run, and primarily we generate more calls into the hotline from offline marketing. So that's how these are designed to work. And for my listings, there's what an example of my listings page looked like. This was my double page spread in Homes and Lands every single month for years and years and years and years. And I did this in 3 local magazines, and we just created leads. We just created calls on all of our listings and different offers in the ad from people who just wanted more. Now, the reason I think, Mike, we were able to put in, as many listings as we were able to and create as many leads as we were able to is early in our time with this technology, we spent a lot of time experimenting with different voices, different messages, and different formats. I shouldn't say format. I never really changed much in terms of the format. The structure of my call was always the same. Just sometimes we found ourselves saying too much or trying to sell something or coming across as too salesy, so we'd adjust and we'd adjust and we'd adjust. We experimented with voices. Anybody that came in and worked on my team, they had to sit in my office and they had to record a number of practice scripts in the event that they had the perfect voice. And at the time, I didn't care, male or female. Personality makes a difference, but I didn't care. And we experimented with everybody's voice. We experimented with my sons. We experimented with my wife's friends. We experimented with everybody, hunting for the perfect voice. And one day we had a script that had been recorded, and it didn't sound right. There was some garbling, or the computer had caused some static. And so Carol said, well, no problem. I have the script. I'll just re-record it. And Carol sits down, and she records the script. We put it out there. And I used to check my recordings every week. And Carol's script in our listings ad got more requests for feature sheets than anybody else that we'd work with at the time. So all of a sudden, we started to convert all of our scripts using my wife Carol's voice. And she became the voice of the house calls group, which is what we're known for. And Carol has a distinctively D personality. She has a pretty good voice. And I encouraged her always to smile when she records the script on the computer. And by the way, that's how we do it. We record all of our scripts using the software with Windows. Then we just simply upload it and slam it into the hotline. And all of a sudden, we discover that Carol has like the perfect voice for recording hotline scripts. And so from that point on, she has done essentially all of the scripts that my team has used to create leads over the years. The only scripts that you hear my voice on is the USP property introduction, and I've done a couple of the USP scripts as well, but we've always had the best success using Carol's voice. And I think Carol's done some stuff over the years for you too, Mike, and her voice has just lent itself really well to leads being generated. So I do think we have to pay attention to all those things. The speed of the speech, which I talk about, the tonality of the person doing the speech, and we have proven that a female voice appears to come across as less threatening. So if you're looking for the ideal female voice, just test everybody you know. Test your wife, test your daughter, test your girlfriend, test your mistress, whatever. Test everybody, and use the voice that sounds the best when it's played back over the telephone, not the computer. People listen to this on the telephone. And you'll find that your messages will go up when you discover that really, really great voice.
Now, Rick, if I could just add, for people on the call that are not comfortable recording scripts, they don't like their voice, we have, just to let you know, we have people in-house here that will record your script for you. We do it for thousands of our members, so no problem. All you need to do is draft up the script and the property and send it in to us, and we could provide that for you as well. Now, I think this is a time that we should probably get Amy on the line and play that $1 million script you have that really compelled the prospect to dial 0 or leave a message on the property script. You guys want to hear that? Type in yes if you guys want to hear this script that Rick has created. A lot of people saying yes, Rick. So we're going to share that right now. Amy, you on the line?
I am, yes.
You want to see if we could make this work? Play that record in the property script?
You bet. Yeah, and you were not kidding when you said there's a lot of people that want to hear this script. So great job. Let's go ahead and I'll play it now.
Good.
Hi, it's Carol from the House Calls Group, and thanks for taking just a quick minute out of your day to inquire about this newly listed executive home on Evergreen Place, here in Ocean Heights. With its no-traffic well-treed location, gleaming hardwood floors, crackling wood-burning fireplace, granite counters, stainless appliances, and mouth-dropping ocean vistas off the huge rear deck, this exquisite upscale residence will easily complement your lifestyle. To order a fully loaded, full-color property brochure, leave us a message at the tone. But to save time, if you'd like to either arrange a personal viewing or find out the current asking price for this home, press 0 right now and we'll answer any of your questions and arrange to get you in here right away. Thanks for calling. Here's the tone.
Great. Good job, Rick. That painted the perfect picture for me, I tell you.
Well, it's simple, right? It's just really simple. That's all it is. And
no
so
price.
I think one of the mistakes our members make, Mike, is they just load up on the features of the property and try and sell the property in the script.
Right.
Now, I've done the hotline seminar at the super conference for years and years, and one of the questions I get is how many features of a property should I include in that description? Well, it's not about the property. Everybody needs to get that. The property is just a catalyst that we use to get the prospect to ask for more. So if your focus is on the property, you'll probably say too much and narrow the appeal. The more you say, the more narrow the appeal becomes. And then click, they're gone. The focus on creating a script for a property should be short, sweet, and to the point. 1 or 2 what we call emotional description points that emotionally grab people, and then let them know how to get all the emotional points. I always say just whet their appetite with 1 or 2 things and get the request for more. Guys, it's the request for more that we're after, not to sell the house. Now, over the years, as you probably know, I've traveled all over the continent on behalf of the company. I've collected recordings from hotlines that agents use. And you wouldn't believe some of the things that people put out there. But I can tell you they are all counterproductive to lead generation. Okay, this again falls in the marketing category. The marketing category is there in your business for one sole purpose: generate a lead. And in this case, a lead is a request for more information. If you can get good at that, your lead generation goes through the roof.
And Rick, I noticed that you didn't even mention the price of the house in that script. In fact, you requested they wanted an updated price of that.
Okay,
current home.
well here, let's talk about that, Mike. When you're sitting at your desk and you get a call from a prospect who's sitting out front of your listing, let's say they have called your number on the sign. I can say 90% of every sign call you get asks the same 2 questions. And everybody's sitting back, nodding their head up and down. How much is it, and when can I get in? Right? We give the person the price, and what if the price is too high? Boom, gone. Okay? Poor lead generation. So why give the price at all? Let them come to you to get the price. Let them press 0 so you can at least engage them in a universal callback script and create a meeting with them because they're a buyer. Isn't that what this is all about? Wouldn't you rather make an offer to someone to give them a list of everything that matches their search criteria than see them eliminated because you recorded the script incorrectly? That's what this is all about. So you might see the price of the property in my advertising, but for the person driving up and down the street, it's highly unlikely they'll ever know the price, the square footage, the bedrooms, the lot size, any of that stuff from my script. I just want them to ask me for that stuff in the message.
I know for sure in checking your reports, Rick, just by mentioning that for an updated price of this property, I think it was about a 20% boost that you had people dial in 0 to get that price, hoping to hear it on recorded message, but actually calling you or someone in your office about that price. Hence getting that lively time conversation that we talked about.
Yeah, well, guess who I don't want to talk to? I don't want to talk to the nosy neighbor.
Right.
Now, this also works in my favor. I don't put the price on my script. The nosy neighbor, who's just, Mrs. Kravitz, calls the number, kicks in the 0, and quickly kicks in the code, and quickly discovers that to get to me, she's got to talk to me live. Guess what? I eliminate her, and I'm okay with that because she's not buying the house anyway, and she probably doesn't have to sell another one. I want to talk to the most qualified prospects, Mike, and when this technology is set up correctly, that's who we talk to.
And that leads us into our next question. How do I know that you got a better response? Is because we have a whole tracking portal where you can go to on our website at trackmyqlleads.com.
Right.
Maybe if you could put that domain in the chat box. That's where you go to figure out what's working, what is not. And it's a huge component for me. It really is a tool that really will track your ROI or return on investment. And we have all sorts of tracking. We've got, as you see on the screen there, we've got a detailed reporting of the call, the name, the address, the number, the ID. You can actually go in and actually listen to the lead right online. There is a tracking by caller line ID. I don't know if we have those we can show you, but that will show you the caller line ID, the people have called in, the name and address. A lot of great information about calls that come in, the calls that maybe hung up in the middle of the script, and messages that are left. And I know, Rick, when you check your reports every day, and if you've seen a reason for some people hanging up, you really analyze and to find out why they hung up and what point of the script did they hang up on. How, like, can you just share with everyone on the call today how you're using the report that we provide?
So yes, and this is there's two things I want everyone to take from this. Number one is a good marketer. And by the way, guys, you're all marketers now. We're teaching all of you to market and generate leads. A good marketer knows what's going on with his marketing. First and foremost, you have to know what's going on with your marketing. Now, with respect to the hotline tool in your marketing, we have this whole plethora of reports that tells us absolutely every detail with respect to calls coming into the number. It tells you what 4-digit ID codes they've kicked in. It tells you how long they've listened to them. It tells you how long they listened to your introduction. Now, this was a crucial one for me because I have a tendency to be a little long-winded. So when I started to really get serious about this tool, I recorded some what I thought were smoking cool introductions. And I'd go back on Fridays. I used to do my reports every Fridays. I'd look at my introductions and all the calls, and people were only listening to about half of what I said. And I think I'm interesting, Mike. It's kind of an insult to my ego, but it was a lesson. The lesson learned was we don't need to be as long-winded and give all the details in the introduction. So I shortened and shortened and shortened to the point where about 70% of our callers started to listen to my entire introduction. Then we listened, or looked at, pardon me, how long people listened to my USP messages that I made available, the 1 through 9. And we fixed those up a little bit so they were more compelling. Same thing with our property scripts. Our property scripts over the years have always reflected how much time people seem to have. These days, everybody is running. So these days, our property scripts are very short, sweet, and to the point, just like that one that you heard a minute ago, which is just the format that I use for all the properties that I use a property script on. And the only reason I knew this, Mike, was because of your reporting capabilities. It shows me absolutely everything, along with letting me realize which advertising medium I'm running is the most effective. Because every medium I run has its own series of mailbox numbers. All we have to do is copy the script into each series of mailbox numbers, and it lets me see the effectiveness, of the magazine or the newspaper or whatever it is where the script is running. So it's interesting. I was always getting calls from reps who wanted to sell me space in their new magazine, and they would tell me things like distribution and all this stuff that they tell you, and I was able to determine if they were lying to me or not, because if they said their magazine was printed and 40,000 copies was put out there, I could pretty much guarantee I'd get the same response from that magazine as I would get from one that I knew had 40,000. So that kind of stuff enables us to really, really get good at this, to really understand our return on investment, and to become a really good marketer.
That's right, Rick. If you cannot track and test your marketing at all, it really is a complete waste of time and money. And Dan Candy and Craig Proctor has taught me that, and that's how we basically customize and test the system by the reports that we provide in tracking and measuring everything we do. You know, you shut the things off that don't work, and you do more of the things that do, and really go after the jackpot. So,
yep,
pretty cool stuff. But let's go into the fifth question, which, and then we're going to open it up to open Q&A in a few minutes. And it really is one of the key components, you know, of marketing. And so let me just review the whole marketing process. So we ran the ad, we captured the lead on the hotline message, we notify you of the lead by either email or text, and now we're looking for an immediate follow-up. And I'll let Rick talk about this the follow-up and the importance and timeliness of following up on this lead using Craig's universal callback script.
Okay, let's establish a beachhead for this. Everybody in our coaching program, or anybody who spent any time with us, knows that we believe the value in getting back to a lead ASAP. Okay, as soon as possible. Not tomorrow, not next week, not after the weekend. If a lead comes in, the MIT lead study clearly states that our success will go up if we can talk to the lead within the first 5 minutes. So here's a graph right out of the MIT Inside Sales lead study. And look at that. If we can get to the lead in the first 5 minutes, we have 1,000 times better chance of talking to the lead if we leave it 10 minutes. Now you're thinking to yourself, what? 5 minutes has that great of a difference? The answer is yes. The MIT lead study, and for any of you who don't have a copy of this, send a note to your coach this afternoon, and he'll send you a copy of the MIT lead study. Get back to them immediately. Don't wait. I mean, if you're driving down the freeway in the car, you can't. You know, take an exit, get back to this person absolutely as quickly as you can, because we want you to get into a conversation with that prospect. The reason he's called you, or the reason the lead has come in, is because he needs something. He wants something that you offered. So get back to that person as quickly as you can and get into the conversation you do with the universal callback script. Really simple. Hi, Mr. Smith, or hi, Mike. It's Rick Brash with Keller Williams. The reason for my call is you were just on my website looking for a copy of that report, the 27 Essential Tips to Get Your Home Sold Fast and for Top Dollar. I just wanted to let you know I'm in the car. I'll get that to you as soon as I get back to my office. But before I get back there, Mike, let me ask you, is moving something in your near future? And boom, I'm into the conversation. And 5 minutes later, maybe 6, maybe 3, I will have created a listing appointment with this lead, Mike, who came on and asked me for the report. Okay? That's what happens if you get back to them immediately. And the chances of that happening start to diminish the longer you leave it. So that's the importance of getting back to your leads absolutely ASAP. So now you see the advantage of getting into that meaningful conversation as soon as possible. And that's what we want you to do. So get back to your leads as soon as possible unless they press 0. If they press 0, your cell phone rings and it's a lead on the phone while you're driving, guys, pull over and have the conversation. Just pull over to the side of the road, have the conversation, and book the appointment. Don't talk to people while you're driving. You get a big fat ticket for that and you might get killed. But pull over, take an exit. Just tell them you're driving. Just sit tight. I'm just going to pull over, put the phone down, pull over, and create that meaningful conversation. And guess what's going to happen? You're going to have an appointment as soon as you get that person on the phone. Sorry, Mike, go ahead.
No problem. I was just going to say time and motivation is everything. And we almost forgot to mention this brand new feature that we've we've only set it up with a small group of people, but in discussing this Dial Zero feature, looking for that meaningful conversation, we've come up with a mobile enhanced hotline feature, which basically when a prospect is driving by on their smartphone and they call the recording and they're listening to the recording and dialing 0 or they're leaving a message, at that same point we capture their telephone number, their mobile phone. So any mobile telephones that we capture, we can now SMS or text that message out to them while you're talking to them or leaving the message. And on that text could be a personalized link to your website, it could be a USP, it could be anything that you want to put on it. I know, Rick, you're testing it, and we're getting some good feedback for the group that we are testing it with. And if anyone on this call is interested in applying this brand new feature on their tree property line, just type in your chat box right now that just type in mobile hotline, yes, and we'll get back to you on that when the time comes. So what do you think, Rick? We should going to open up the how much time we got? We got about 5-10 minutes. So we've got some questions pouring in. Well, before we actually do that, there's a lot of people I know on the line that was at the past conference in Orlando, and for some reason didn't get a chance to get our offer, the last chance offer from the conference. Rick, you want to go to the next slide? Yeah. So if anyone wants to take advantage of our offer we did in Orlando, just go to www.automatedmarketingsolutions.com/last chance offer, and there's a dash between last and chance. I don't know why I make it complicated, but Rick, maybe you can just click on that page so they can see where we are. There it is. If you just go down to the bottom, just click there's a link below. If you just click down below, yeah, right there, yeah, click that. And yeah. So basically, we have two options that we did offer, and option one was the information hotline with all Craig's marketing scripts, free unlimited minutes. We offered the free directory lookup with a name and address, and all that. Actually, can you scroll back up just a little bit so I can? Right. So information line. So we had two ways you can pay it. You can pay it. It's a 30-day free training or trial on it. There's a one-time setup fee after the 30 days of $197 and a $49.95 per month charge. Or you could, if you decide, you can prepay for 6 months, save on the $199.70, and pay us $297 for 6 months, all included. So that's providing the one line, information line for your unbranded approach. If you scroll down a little more, Rick, the other option is we'll include the information line and the property tree. Rick, can you scroll down, please, a little bit more? Okay, there you go. So you get everything in option one, and we'll add the UFP property tree with all the scripts. Again, all the minutes included, reverse directory lookup. We also will include the voice broadcasting, which is a service we really didn't talk about in this call, which is an outbound message that we send to the two mailboxes, and we'll include 1,000 calls in that package. And for the people on the call that are here, we actually use that service to get you on the call, to notify you or remind you of this webinar. So it really is a good tool for retention and reminders of getting people to a call, to an event, or maybe you're sending your monthly newsletter. It's a good reminder to say that you sent it to them. So again, all this is included, and there's two ways that you can go after 30 days. You can pay monthly for $97 per month with a $297 activation, or if you want to save on the activation, we'll waive the activation of $382, and the charge will be $497 for 6 months. That's 2 lines with the voice broadcasting. I just wanted to bring that out for the people who were at the conference that didn't take advantage of the the offer, and there it is now. So let's get back to that screen, Rick, and we'll start taking some questions from the people on the call. And there's the number. You can also call in our number, which was on the screen there. And our number is 1-800-458-1899. That's 1-800-458-1899. So, Amy, do we have any questions?
We do, yes. We've got some that have trickled in while we've been going throughout the call. Let me just jump back to the beginning of them here. Okay. This one particular question, I think it's just more of a navigational type thing, but Rick, a gentleman has asked, how do we find the special reports to send out to the prospects who are calling in on the hotline?
Well, if you're a coaching member, the special reports are in the coaching website. So where you go in to do the ad creation, where you customize the ad from our library, the reports are right there.
Yeah, and I think not necessarily just the coaching side of things, but I believe it's in the ad generator. When you're going through and you're creating your ad, at the end of that, I believe it pops up. Is that correct? Am I correct?
Yeah, well, at the end of the ad, once you've created the ad, we give you the hotline script and the appropriate report that goes with that campaign.
Perfect. Okay, great. Another question that we have here is, do you feel that a separate sign works better than a sign rider?
Well, that's something you want to tweak and experiment with, but we did. My signage became a big deal for me. At one point, sometimes still, we have 4 signs out in front of a house for sale where everybody else has one boring sign. And yeah, we generated way more calls into our hotline when it stood separately from the for sale sign and faced the street. That worked. That was a game changer for us with respect to calls to the hotline.
And that kind of references back to what you had shown on the call, I believe, was that ugly yellow sign, as you guys all refer to it as.
Well, that's a different sign. That's my just listed sign. Let me go back to it. I'll show everybody how that works.
So I have there's a bunch of requests that people want that sign.
Yeah.
they want an image of it.
There it is. You can take a picture of it. But here's the way this works. All the agents who work with me have this in their car. It's 4 feet tall. It is the ugliest sign in town, but it's yellow. It's ugly and it's yellow and it draws attention. And if I go out on a listing presentation at 7:30 on a Thursday night and list the property, it takes 3 or 4 days for the actual for sale sign to go up in my marketplace. So I leave this behind. And this simply encourages people out looking for a house for sale in the neighborhood to call into my hotline, kick in that 4-digit code 9889, and listen to a script about a newly listed property that isn't yet on the MLS. And I sold lots of houses and got lots of clients from that sign right there. So as ugly as it is, we've carried that around for years and years and years, and we simply push people to our hotline over and over and over again.
Rick, I know that those 2 words in brackets, recorded information, really helped get more calls to your hotline as well.
Yep. As soon as a prospect realizes they don't have to talk to an agent, they're picking up the phone and they're calling. It's when they have to go through the agent gatekeeper that they resist making the call. And I learned that a long time ago, Mike, working with Craig. He told me, get out of the way, Rick, and the leads will come in. So that's what we want to do.
Cool. I'm getting a lot of requests here too, Rick, and people want a transcript of that script that we played earlier. I'm sure we can provide that for everyone on the call today.
Well, I suppose you could. It's pretty basic. It's 2 sentences. All it is 2 sentences. Yep.
Okay. Amy, do we have any other messages? Sorry.
Yeah. One in particular was from Nancy, and she wanted to know your thoughts on putting the address in your ad for the listing or even in the hotline scripting.
Nope.
Do you omit that altogether?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You want that press 0.
What I said earlier, guys, it's not about the property. We let the prospect think it's about the property. The purpose of doing this in your marketing is to create the request. Lead generation 101, create the request for more. If I start giving out too much information, I diminish my return. I want people to ask me. And I'll provide them with what they need when they call and when they ask, but I'm also going to get them in a situation where they're talking to me on the phone, and I'm pretty good on the phone at creating an appointment with somebody who's looking to buy a house. That's what I want to do. It's lead generation, not information dissemination.
Here's another question, Rick. Why is the AMS Craig Proctor hotline system different from using another provider?
Well, because a couple of reasons. Number one, we showed you the formats that we've created. I would suggest the information line might be relatively similar to other stuff that's out there. The property tree format, however, is unique in the industry. That is Mike's proprietary format, and most importantly, you get Craig's library. That's what matters. When you're a Craig Proctor coaching member, you get access to the pre-recorded script library that we've created for you to use. And obviously, our relationship with AMS is long and varied because Mike does a really good job with our clients. So we've continued to work this relationship with Mike, and he looks after our customers really well and provides them with the things that we've asked him to. So if you want the scripts, if you want the format that's proven, just fill out the form. And if you have questions, send me an email or send me your form, and I'll answer your questions, rick@craigproctor.com. But get started today. Don't waste time with other guys that don't have scripts or don't have proven formats. Let's just get busy.
Well, Rick, what we offered at the conference as well, for anyone that was using another vendor, in our presentation, we offered a 30-day trial and test our number against.
Yeah.
So we're saying not to cancel your other provider's number, but get ours set up, test it, our number against your current other providers, and do that test for 30 days. And if you decide that you want to come over to us, then any fees you may pay for canceling or any sign writers you need to replace, we'll include that. So we offered that at the conference.
It's interesting. Every hotline supplier, I shouldn't say every, all the big hotline suppliers over the years that I've been working with you, Mike, have offered me free services for life if I would just come over and endorse their product the way I have endorsed yours. And my answer to all of them is the same: no. I don't need to take chances with my business. I don't need to put everything in jeopardy that I've built here. And this is the system that's been perfected for real estate agents based on the Quantum Leap system. So if you're really an ardent student of our program, if you really want to do it the way Craig figured this out, if you really want to copy, this is the system to copy. Just get busy. Free 30-day trial, very reasonably priced, much cheaper than most of the others out there, and is as technically sound as anything you can work with. And I know there's lots of bells and whistles out there. There's lots of fancy stuff you can get. I don't need all that stuff. I just need a hotline that works in conjunction with my marketing, the way we've designed the Quantum Leap system, and that generates me leads. And this is the one. And I don't have any special training on this. I learned all this on my own because I really liked the technology. I liked the opportunity it created for me. I just went to work with it. It wasn't surface. I went to work and I made this thing really sing in my business the way Craig did. So that's all you got to do. That's all you got to do is get busy with it.
Another question here. Do you recommend making any changes on the marketing scripts on the information line? I know there's some members in the past that tried to use the information line and the property tree all in one line, and to me,
yeah, it doesn't work.
Does not
work. I'm not saying you can't present a compelling script about a property on your information line. I'm not saying that. But you know what? That's like saying, well, I've got a Ferrari, but I'll just put a little Volkswagen engine in the Ferrari. I mean, it'll probably get you around the corner. It'll get you over to Walmart where you can get your groceries, sure. But you know what? Let's use the tools the way they were designed. The information line was designed to enhance your less branded marketing, and it works perfectly. The property tree was designed to enhance your branded marketing. So it plays a great commercial about you. It gives the prospect a compelling reason to move forward and keep going and ask for more. So there's a free trial here, guys. Take advantage of it. Mike and Amy and the team at AMS will get you set up. Get busy with your marketing. Get people on your hotline, and you'll very quickly see how adept this tool is at creating leads for everybody in your organization. But you just got to get started, so get on it right away.
And again, the website to go to, it should be in your chat box as well. Amy, you may want to type it in again. It's automatedmarketingsolutions.com /last-chance-offer. Don't know why we make it so complicated, but you can cut and paste that or click that. It'll go right to the site, or you can call the 800 number, 1-800-458-1899, and one of our consultants could help you out. Again, if you want to test it, you have another vendor, another hotline provider that you want to test it out with, we're more than happy to set you up, and you can test that as well. Rick, you want to talk a little, just before we maybe take one or two more questions, talk about the next super conference for Craig in April?
Yeah, just before we do that, I just got an email on my phone, and the answer to the question is no. Mike, I don't work for you. I'm not your employee. I don't own part of AMS. I get a bill every month just like everybody else does, and that's the truth. The reason I come on stage at the super conference to help Mike out is the agreement of me getting the Hummer was also that I had to do that. And that's the reason that I do the Sunday morning or the third day presentation on behalf of AMS at the super conference. I am not an AMS employee. I don't work with you, Mike, or for you, Mike. I don't own part of your company. I just help out. But I'm also a believer. I talk about this technology with as much passion as I do because for me it was a game changer. And all I did was embrace it. All I did was put it to work the way it was designed. I didn't just play around with it a little bit and try it here and there. I embraced it and absolutely put it everywhere. You know, even in my recruiting efforts to find, you know, more members to work on my team, I used the hotline the way Craig taught me. So I'm a big believer in the hotline, and that's why I get as involved as I do. Yeah, the next super conference, Anaheim, we're going to be at the Hyatt Regency, April 11th to the 13th. For those of you who are not yet in our coaching program, who are just perhaps looking at what our program is all about, reach out to me, rick@craigproctor.com. It would be my pleasure to get on the phone and have a chat with you about the merits of the 3-day super conference in your business plan, where Craig will actually spoon feed you his program, the same program he used to sell close to 600 houses every year and become the #1 guy in the world for RE/MAX and be in the top 10 for 20 years. That's the program. That's the world-famous Craig Proctor program that we'd like you to come and spend 3 days with us enjoying. It is intense. We'll spend 3 days starting at 7 in the morning, and we'll go till 9:30 at night. You will be wore out. It will feel as if you're drinking from a fire hose. It is cutting edge. You will learn some strategies you've never learned at your franchise level, and you will come away from that super conference with a whole new outlook on real estate. And if that sounds interesting, then just reach out to me. I'll send you a package. We'll get you rolling on registration, and we'll talk all about that when we get on the phone. Love to talk to you about that. That is something I'm really passionate about as well.
Great, and we're about 5 or 10 minutes past our time, and we do really respect everyone's time here. And again, Rick's email is at the bottom there, rick@craigproctor.com. If you have any questions or any comments you want to ask Rick, you've got our number up there. You can call in to one of our consultants. But the bonus too, anyone on this call is interested, we'll send the transcript of Rick's property script as well. And also anyone that has a property tree with us currently will enable that mobile enhanced notification feature, which just came out, and just let us know when you call in or that you want that, and we can add that. There's no additional cost there. We'll just add that feature to it as well. So Rick, once again, thank you very much for your time. I know you're a busy guy. You've been doing coaching calls all day long.
My pleasure, Mike. Anytime.
Amy, you did a great job as a moderator in setting up the call. Rick, I know we got another call planned later this month. We're going to talk about trying to leverage more of the mobile component to help with lead generation, and we're also going to do a hot seat call as well. So some of the people that were at the Orlando event, we're going to get 2 or 3 of those people who are really starting to generate leads. We're going to get them on a call. I'm going to ask them a bunch of questions on how they're doing, and share all this information with all the people that want to visit us on the call. So again, thank you very much, Rick and Amy, for your time, and everyone for joining us on the call today. We really appreciate you coming out, and we look forward to seeing you on another call or possibly at the Craig Proctor Conference.
Thanks,
Take
Mike.
care.